What is up, fanatics? It is 8 p.m. Mountain Time, and that means another episode of Home Theater Fanatics Live. Tonight is episode 125, and we have yet another superlative episode for you because today, back from the past, because this gentleman's been with us before, and I always love it when he's on, we've got Jack Sharkey from KEF. That's right, the KEF and the Jack. Hey, man. How you doing, Jack?
Good, Giles. How are you? It is really always great to be back. It's been a while since I've been on, but I love the show. I love what you guys are doing. So it's always a great way to spend an evening. So thanks for having me.
Right on. I appreciate the kind words, and you guys are one of my favorite brands. I mean, whenever you see KEF, I just love it. And we'll talk about some of the cool new stuff that you guys have done over the last year here in just a bit. But before we start digging into stuff, let's just take a minute for folks that don't know, because we've got some new people with us. We always have new people joining the show out in the audience, which I always appreciate. And they might not be as familiar with you and KEF. So maybe a little bit about who you are and what you do. And then, 30 seconds on what KEF, the big KEF brand is and stands for.
Cool. It's like the elevator speech, both ways going. So,
exactly, up and down.
So I'm a senior technical engineer with KEF, but most of my work is done in the marketing area, as well as training. So I do internal training and external training and product support and things like that. Plus I get my hand in some of the cool marketing things that we do. And I've been with the company about 13 or 14 years, and it's a great gig for me because I've been doing nothing but speakers since I'm like 14 years old, which is quite a while ago. And so it's, that passion's never gone away. It's a calling, so to speak, and to work for a company like KEF, to be able to do that is a real honor. Right? Now, KEF has been around since 1961. So this is our 60th birthday is going to be in October. We're one of the and we're one of the pioneers of the British sound. We're a speaker manufacturer. Yep. We started working right from the get-go in the 1960s with the BBC. So we've really put a lot of time and engineering expense and effort into innovation, into doing new things, and we've done a couple of really great things over the years. Started working with computers in the 1970s and used that as part of our design. So we're really a design house, but at the core of it is this passion for sound that we've had, for 60 years. And everybody on the team, it's the same thing. That's what's so delightful to work for the company, because I'm at home, right? I'm with people who think like I do and do what I do. So and the products are great. So that's also an added benefit.
That's cool. Yeah. So, KEF is iconic, and KEF is also easily identifiable. I mean, you can look at a speaker and, once you know what KEF's about, you can say, "Oh, that's KEF," because it's almost ubiquitous across your product line as the Uni-Q technology, right? And for folks that don't know, that's when you take a mid-range driver, and then in the very center of it, so it makes concentric circles. You have your tweeter mounted, so it's not like you have mid-range with tweeter above or below. It's actually concentric, and then you guys use what's called tell me if I get this right, the tangerine waveguide that sits around the tweeter to help make sure everything sounds the way that it ought to. So
there's a bunch of science behind Uni-Q. It's not just simply a matter of, sticking a tweeter sort of in the center of a mid-range driver. There's a bunch of science that goes into a tangerine waveguide as part of that. Basically, what we've got through 30 plus years now of just research and engineering and working on this is we have two separate drivers, the mid-range driver and the tweeter. So they do two separate jobs, right? But they act as one driver, and that's the key, because if you have that tweeter in a different spot than your mid-range, the sound isn't going to come to your ears at the same time because it's leaving the speaker at different times, and that causes all kinds of time smearing and problems. It's just not as close to the original sound as you want. So Uni-Q does that, and Tangerine Waveguide is just another component or part of that. It's a big deal, but it also is really super iconic looking too. So it's one of these things where function led form, and now we've got this really cool looking speaker that does a whole amazing thing during its regular operation as well.
Right on. Now, and you're like on the ninth generation of the design of that. Is that right? 9, 10,
12.
25? 12th.
Yeah, 12th generation. The
Wow.
first one started. The first one was released in like 1988 or thereabouts with our C55. We've been obviously in development since probably the mid 80s, 84 or 85. Yeah, and it's 12 generations, and we only really bumped the generation up when there's been a critical change or a big scientific sort of breakthrough or innovation. But the cool thing about Uni-Q, I just want to get this in there, is if you buy a Q series or an R series or whatever product you buy from us, you're not just
the
going
R series.
Say it again?
I said the R series. Oh, so good.
Yeah. Personally, my favorite. Yeah.
So
But we don't just have a stock room of Uni-Q and we just pull them out. We have the Uni-Q not only for each individual product line, but often within the product line itself, we have specific Uni-Q. So if you're buying a Q series or an R series or whatever it happens to be, you're getting a Uni-Q that was designed specifically for that cabinet and for that operation. And that's a really cool thing, because then whether you're entry level or you're full blown with reference or blade, you're getting a specific product or a specific technology for that box, if you will. And it goes for this, the in ceiling and the in wall speakers as well.
That's cool. And you mentioned in wall, so I think that's kind of a good segue to the next thing that I want to talk about. And everybody knows that I love theater, right? So I love that mix of audio, video, and putting it into a fun way to consume content and have an enjoyable time, especially when you can have friends over and have that cinema experience at home. Well, you guys, and people might not know this quite as well about you, because you're really well known as a humongous 2-channel company, but you guys are also just as big on the home theater, the home cinema side. And you guys have a facility that's called the KEF Music Lounge, or the KML, KEF Music Lounge. And now, and it achieved something that not any other theater of its type has achieved, right? Can you talk a little bit about that? Because to me, this is like extra super cool.
It's fully THX certified. It's the only theater of its class that is THX certified, that's publicly accessible. So I'm inviting you, if the next time I do the show, maybe next year or in the winter, to come out to the KML and do one, do a show in there. It's an amazing experience. And what we set out to do was say, we're going to build a room and we're going to build a facility that is going to completely complement all of our products. So if you go into the KML, actually there's an area that has Q series and LSX, and we have Blade in there, and every one of our products, all of our in walls and in ceilings that are showcased exactly how you would want to have them in your house or how you might live. And then you go into the theater, and the theater is a whole nother. It's just a whole nother thing. It's completely acoustically isolated from the rest of the building. It has its own power. It's, I could go on for 30 or 40 minutes about the technology that's in that theater, but suffice to say, it's the best of what we do. It is completely thought out and engineered as the best theater that you're going to go into. And frankly, when I'm in the office, because I work in Nashville, but the KML is in New Jersey, and when I'm in New Jersey, I always find an excuse to get in there for 15 or 20 minutes by myself, or a half an hour, just to sit and watch and listen and feel it. It's really an amazing thing, and that's why it exists. It exists to give people this thrill of theater and this thrill of sound and audio and visual when it's tied together, like only a top-notch theater can really do. So I'm sure you know all about that.
Oh yeah, and when I first learned that you guys had got the THX certification in this room, I mean, I was just super excited. And yeah, I'd love to come out maybe next year once everything settles down a little bit, and maybe do a live stream from there, and then film it, and then do an episode and just show it off a little bit more for you. I think that's something that, all companies have demo rooms, but this one's a little unique, right? It's special.
Yeah, it's not, it was originally, when you walk into it, it's designed like if you had the coolest, hippest apartment in any, major downtown city. It has a bar in it, it has a living room in it, it has all of our speakers all throughout. So you're getting that whole living experience. And then of course you walk your way into the theater. So I'm absolutely serious, invitation for you. You name the time or the place, and I'll sit and watch a movie with you, and then we'll do the show. It's absolutely worth that trip for you, 100%.
Right on. I will take you up on that. So, talking about cool things. So, I was sitting down thinking to myself, how am I going to spend all of this YouTube wealth that I've accumulated, right? I mean, these millions and millions of dollars that I'm making from YouTube.
There you go.
And for people that think I'm serious, no, my $3 a month doesn't go very far. I do this for the love, people. But I was thinking I'll spend all these millions on a new car. And I started doing some research, right? I was looking at cool sporty cars, and I ran across a news article that called out that KEF and Lotus have, went into an agreement to implement KEF technology into Lotus automobiles. And I was like, man, this is so much better than buying a Lotus with like Bose in it or something. This, not that I got anything against Bose, but I would much rather have the KEF, So that's true, right? I mean, I didn't see that incorrectly.
No, how cool is that? So we have an agreement with them in their new products, and they'll be out. I think it comes out in 2022 in the new electric car, and there'll be other things going down the road. And a lot of people don't know we were actually in the audio business in the 1990s. Maybe it was even a little bit earlier than that. At the height of sort of that thing, and it was something we did, and it was kind of cool. But this is a whole nother level of audio. I mean, it's Lotus, and one of the cool things about Lotus is that if you're not familiar with the brand, it's high end, and they're like racing cars, and one of the models is not going to have any of our sound in it because it's all about engine and transmission and seat. I mean, it still goes back to the 60s in that sense, but the other stuff that we're involved in is just super luxurious, it's supercar stuff, what it is. And when we entered into the agreement, we had nice covers for the speakers and stuff, and the lead designers from Lotus were like, no, going back to the Tangerine Wave guy, they're like, no, that speaker is so cool looking, we don't want it covered. So actually, when you get in the car, which I haven't been in one yet, but who knows?
I'm sure that's part of your compensation plan, right? They're like, whenever a new car comes out,
renegotiated by contract. Part of it was the Lotus deal. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if that's come through or not yet, but we'll see. But when you open the doors of the car and you look at it, there's KEF in the Uni-Q. It's just right there. It's beautiful, and it just fits so nice into the car. So we're really all excited about that, and expect a lot of things to be coming in the fall and in January as we get closer and closer, as Lotus gets closer and closer to actually releasing the first car that we're involved in. So yeah, it's kind of a fun thing. It's real cool.
It's super fun. And I wonder, speaking about KEF and innovative things in cars, I wonder if they're going to put metamaterial in the speakers for that car. And maybe we can talk a little bit about metamaterial in general for folks that don't know, because I got a chance to review the new LS50s, the Metas, and I was blown away. I mean, I just absolutely love them. And I don't know if people know, and tell me where I'm wrong, but isn't the metamaterial really an evolution of technology, that different types of methodologies of implementing that type of metamaterial from the past? Because I seem to remember, like, back in the day, KEF you'd have just like a tube coming off the back of the tweeter or something, right? And that was like the sound control then, and then you fast forward and you've got this cool new metamaterial that's does the same kind of thing but so much better now. I don't know, is that right?
Yeah, it's exactly right. And it's back in 1967 we released the Carlton, and it had that too. It was like 31 inches, 32 inches, and the theory, the whole point is backward. Right, so there's when a speaker pushes sound forward, there's also the same amount of sound energy goes backwards, and that stuff swims around inside of the cabinet and eventually bounces back and causes distortion, right? Or it interferes with the sound being currently made. So the object is to get rid of all that backwave energy. So we theoretically would send it down this tube, and it would just kind of disappear, but tubes do bad things too. They cause all
Yeah.
kinds of resonances and things. So that theory is not, I mean, I think the first patent for something like that came out in 1940. So this is something before us. This is something that everybody has been trying to solve. But through the use of metamaterial, if I were to say to you, you know, we are using plastic as a sound absorber, you'd kind of chuckle and say, well, it's the worst possible sound absorber I could think of, is plastic. But that's what metamaterial is. It takes a new design on something that exists already and change it, or you know, a material that exists already and changes its function. So we're actually using these two plastic discs. They're, you know, about this size around, and they're, you know, less than a ½ an inch wide, but they have channels in them that each channel gets excited by a certain frequency range. So whatever note's playing gets into this channel, and it literally acts like a black hole, because it resonates and it beats the frequency down to the point where, you know, it's just attenuated, it has nothing left, and it can't find its way back out of this metamaterial. The first time I heard it, and I used the same, I've used the same 3 or 4 albums or songs for my entire career to listen to things, because I know how it's supposed to sound, I know where things are, and all, whether I was here doing commercial stuff or whatever it is. And the first time I played these songs on metamaterial, I was blown away, because I knew that there were things in there. I mean, obviously, instruments in the soundstage, but suddenly it was like it was like an awakening that they had their own space and their own place in the mix, and they sounded so pure and so clean. It was amazing to me. You know, and I know people are sitting there going, well, I mean, he works for KEF. What is he supposed to say?
Okay, he's right. And they didn't pay me to say it, although I wish they would, because I would be happy to take their money. But I listened to them.
I'll take you for a ride in my Lotus.
There you go. Take me in a ride in your Lotus and let me watch a movie up in the but no, everything you're saying is absolutely right. I mean, it's stunning. Yeah. It's
a big change. And so I'm looking at metamaterial and what we've done with this as something that, as we look 15, 20 years down the road in audio technology, this is a sort of a watershed moment. This is a paradigm shift in how we're going to build cabinets and speakers, and how things are going to be expected to sound. That's the thing. The bar is now set so high. Things are so pure and so clear, and they sit so well on a soundstage that literally once you hear it, when you go back to something else, it becomes a bit of a disappointment. And so that's a cool thing, because that's a huge technological breakthrough at that point.
I agree. So let's just take a moment. I want to say hi to all the folks that are out in the audience, and I'm going to just scroll through some of these comments. Hi-Fi Haven. Hey man, welcome to the show. Good to see you here. Double A, you were number 2 with your comments today, so glad to have you. We have a mystery user, Facebook user. That might be Kevin. Kevin is always identified as Facebook user, but hey, Kevin, good to have you on. Joey Peacock from Accurus. No, yeah. I'm like, who is he from? His company makes the Act 4 that you guys use in your theater. Yeah. So it's really
oh yeah, Joey's good people, man. He's good people. Yeah.
He's awesome. And then James is with us. Who else we got? Let me scroll. Too many comments. And I don't want to stick around here too long, because we're going to talk about something now that I think is kind of crazy and kind of cool. And this will be our tech question of the week. So today's tech question of the week. Does it make sense to say today's tech question of the week? This week's tech question. How about that? This week's tech question by Jack with KEF is, what exactly is the technology inside of the KC62 subwoofer? And I believe it's called the Unicore technology. What's that doing in there? And why does it make such a small subwoofer do things that it shouldn't be able to do?
And it truly does things that it shouldn't do. If you haven't heard one, if you just look at one, it's slightly larger than a soccer ball or a football, really, seriously, right? And you look at it and you're like, okay, you know, it's another small subwoofer. But the thing is the way that you need to look at the KC62 is it's a big subwoofer. It behaves like a big subwoofer, but because of some of these cool technologies that we've done, 3 patents, by the way, in KC62. that we've been able to take what would amount to a large subwoofer and stuff it all into this tiny little box. So the key of the whole key to a subwoofer in performance is the amount of air that it moves, right? So when you're dealing with high frequencies and mid frequencies, those waves aren't as long, they're not as big, there's not as much energy. So you can get away with, obviously, you know, a smaller diaphragm speaker, but a subwoofer you typically can't, because you got to move a lot of air. So the first solution that we had to come up with is all right, we're going to make a small box, but we needed to move the same amount of air. And that's where Unicore came in. So mind you, these are two 6.5-inch drivers, right? So there's one on each side. It's a sealed box. And it's an aluminum shell. So it's built like an airplane body, right? It has no rounded corners. I'm sorry, no square corners. It's rounded corners, right? And so the bracing inside of it was changed dramatically, which allowed us to get more volume, because you need to have as much space and air inside of that subwoofer to make it work properly as possible. So if you look at the way this is working, the amount of excursion that driver is going, if you can just scroll back down there to that's on my right there, looking at that, right? That's an actual picture of one of the drivers in action. So what the Unicore actually does is it takes the two drivers together, but it fits the former in the voice coil of one driver. So they're, instead of having two separate drivers that, you know, back up to each other with their magnets, we've actually put one inside of the other. So the one voice coil moves this way, the other voice coil moves this way. So the excursion of those speakers is tremendous. It's way larger than it would be with just a speaker, you know, just with the magnets in such a small box. Then they're also force canceling technology. That's where one of the patents comes in. That force canceling technology, when what happens is the extraneous vibrations, so the extra vibrations that would find their way to the cabinet eventually, are completely attenuated before they leave the driver. So you don't have that extra buzz. What you're listening to is not the interpretation of the subwoofer, you know, the box, the sound that the box is making. You're listening to the drivers alone. It's the same sort of technology. It's the same technology we use in the big guy, which is the KF92, which is the 9-inch drivers. So
hold on now. So, and I'm not familiar with the KF92. So is that using the Unicore technology as well?
It is not.
It's not. Okay.
That's two standard drivers with their magnets. This is one end of the magnet, this is the other end of the magnet, sort of buttressed up against each other. Right. And that has a rod in between them that ties them together. So because the box was big, we didn't need to do that. But when we shrunk that box down, that was not going to work. You know, so when people look at the KC62, they dismiss it because it's like, oh, it's a 6.5-inch driver, because they're thinking in terms of a standard driver configuration with voice coil and magnet and all, and that's not what this is at all. Because of the way that we've inserted one driver inside of the other, that excursion is huge. It's probably 25 or 30%, and I'm just guessing on that number right here, trying to think back to the pictures and all, more excursion that you would get if they were in a standard configuration. So with these tiny little 6.5-inch drivers, quote unquote, we're moving a tremendous amount of air because of how far that driver is able to go in and out. And then one of the other patented technologies is the P-Flex surround, which is a surround that allows that excursion it allows that driver to just go farther and farther than it would with a standard half-roll surround. We never would have been able to do that with a standard surround. So that's a patent pending technology. And then there's some other cool things, some distortion control. It's like a real-time distortion control where, you know, I don't want to get too geeky, but we're not using servo controls to do distortion. We're actually doing it as part of the DSP. So it's in real time. It doesn't take away or change the symmetry, you know, of the drivers and all that sort of really super geeky stuff. But the point is, Giles, it all sort of adds up into this giant subwoofer that we've stuffed down inside of a little box. And when you've heard it, you'll be a believer. You know, it's not a replacement for the KF92 in that sense, right? But it's as close as a 6.5-inch driver, dual 6.5-inch drivers is ever going to get to anything, you know, and in the 9-inch range. And you think about it, it's a 13-inch, right? 6.5 times 2 is 13 inches of surface moving an incredible distance. It pushes a lot of air. It's an amazing little box, and it's 500 watts per driver.
Oh,
So
I
it's
know, 1,000 watts in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, just some observations about it. And I'm going to have more in-depth information for everyone. So if they keep their eyes open, they'll be able to see more review content around that in the not too distant future. But it's not going to happen immediately, but it'll be in a little bit. But the sub itself weighs an immense amount for the size. It feels like the whole enclosure is filled with lead. When you pick it up, I'm like, this is heavier than some 12-inch subs that I mean, it's super, super heavy. It's ridiculous.
And first of all, it's totally extruded aluminum. So it's built like an airplane in that sense with the shell, right? It's a Uni-Q construction, right? So there's no bracing, or the bracing is actually the shell itself. So it's aluminum. So you've got the weight from there. Even though aluminum tends to be light, it's still a metal, right?
Yep.
And you've got these two massive voice coils and magnets inside the Unicore, inside of each other, and then the electronics and the power supplies and all that stuff there. Yeah, it's a beast. It's a not kidding around subwoofer at all by any stretch of the imagination, and why we designed it to keep up with the rest of our product line. We've been designing speakers since 1961, and subwoofer is just a speaker, right? But we've done it because a lot of people are doing things in multi-purpose rooms. They want to have a full-blown home theater, but in their living room, so they don't want to have the big boxes and stuff. So the market is really calling for something, but we didn't want to skimp, or we didn't want to compromise on what we felt a subwoofer should do. So that's the beautiful thing, is we literally got the best of both worlds here with this product.
Yeah, and I think the last thing I'll say about the sub right now, anyway, is I think it is approaching about the perfect form factor for complementing stand speakers, right? Bookshelf speakers, that kind of thing. And just as you alluded to, is small, puts out a lot of bass, and especially if you get two of them and you pair that with LS50 Metas or the powered what's the powered model called? The
LS50 Wireless 2?
Yes, those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the perfect form factor. They're both small, and that sub's about the same size as the actual bookshelf itself. I think the bookshelf's actually a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger, yeah.
Yeah, and you can put them almost anywhere. It's really exciting being able to get that kind of sound out of something so small. It has a great aesthetic, but it's also not intrusive if you don't want it to be, right? You can make it fade back into your decor, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. Now, if you want to have muons or whatever out front, great, more power to you. I would do it too. Let's get some blades. Let's go all around with them. But if you want to go small, you don't have to compromise on the sound.
And that's the key. The key is to not compromise. The key is if you're going to buy a KEF product, there's a certain level of joy and pride that goes along with that. It goes along with us designing and building them, and we don't want you to get something that is less than what one of the other product lines or what is going to give. Everything obviously is always a matter of scale, right? But it's the quality of sound, and it's the quality of performance, and we're passionate about things that sound good. So if you want to have a full-blown theater in your living room and you want it to sound as good as you can, but you still need to live in that room, and you still have kids and dogs and in-laws coming over and whatever it may be, you're right. They can kind of just disappear into the decor, and then when it's time for them to shine, they're ready for the task. They can step up and do it. So it is truly, again, it's the best of both worlds in that case.
Right. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for telling us all about the Unicore technology. And I guess to sum it all up, the KC62 powered by magic.
by magic and a whole lot of brain power. Yeah, there you go.
Magical brain power. Oh, all right. So I think this is going to draw our time to an end. Thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us about some of these cool new things. And I would encourage anyone out there that hasn't listened to KEF gear before, find some somewhere. Shops are open again now. You can look it up. Go to the KEF website, look for dealers, and you'll be able to find it somewhere not too far from you. And I really encourage people to check it out, and go listen to the LS50 Metas and the KC62 subwoofer, and I think you'll discover something that you didn't think could exist.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing once you do that. So Giles, as always, it's a real pleasure to come on the show. I love what you guys do, and I'm going to hold you to that invite. We'll get you out on the East Coast, and we'll get some good pizza, we'll get some good seafood, and we'll hit the KML. I think that's a good plan.
All right, looking forward to you. Thank you so much, Jack, for coming on the show.
Thanks. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, now we're going to move on to the second half of our episode. And I know people are out there like, it's only 30 minutes in. What are you doing? Why is Jack leaving? What's going on? Well, we're doing things a little bit different this time. And this is how I want the show to flow as we move into the future. So we'll do our guests at the beginning, but I really want to focus on content. So my plan is to grow this group of people that really know movies and content, and we can talk about things in depth and really analyze some movies and some TV shows, because it's great to have this gear to listen to and watch things on, but you got to know what to watch, right? And what's the right thing. And to kick this off, I'm bringing back a blast from the past. That's right. We're taking a trip down memory lane. And as we visit Content Corner, we're bringing in the forces from before. And you all might know and love him or hate him or something, but I'm not exactly sure. But today you're going to have to deal with him. And his name is Mike. Unmute yourself, Mike. You're muted.
Okay. That better? Can you hear me?
I gotcha.
All right, cool. What's going on, dude?
Yeah, welcome to the show. It's been a minute.
I know. How you been?
I know. Look. So they're like, Giles throws a curveball. Smart idea. Halftime. Good stuff.
Right on.
But we're fully into the mic mode now.
As you know what I'm dealing with over here, and bro, yeah, we'll have to talk later about it. But you were right. You were right.
I was right. I like to be right.
That's all that matters. All that matters is that you were right and I was wrong.
I haven't heard that in such a long time. But you are now known as the best mic in all of Colorado.
I'll take that. Thank you, AA. How you doing? Hi-Fi Haven, what's up?
I agree that you're tops, man.
I'm happy to be here. Dude, we haven't done this in a minute. And, I know you and I have a lot of cool stuff planned for the future and stuff like that. So, yeah. So what do you think? What are you thinking? Content Corner?
Content Corner. Yep. And, for folks that don't know you, let's go ahead and let's let everybody know who you are. So this is Mike of Audio Architects. You can find him at Audio Architects on pretty much every social platform out there. He runs his own YouTube channel. And if you are interested in checking out the empire of Mike over at Audio Architects, I, encourage you to take a look at the Instagram, the YouTube, the Facebook. It's all out there. And there's great content coming out weekly, if not more quickly, more often. So lots and lots of cool stuff. He just, sacrificed himself a little bit for one of his videos, and he was refilming some speakers and decided to chop his thumb off or try to anyway, and hacked into it a little bit.
It's healed up. It's getting healed up. So
right on. So, I mean, he's a giver for you guys. And today he's going to be giving today on Home Theater Fanatics, Audio Architects, and Giles talk about F9, the Fast Saga. So,
okay. So I know you asked me a bunch of questions of what I've seen, and I really haven't seen much.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, I went through. I was like, "Hey, man, you saw this one? No. Have you seen this one? No. Have you seen this one? What is that one? I'm like, have you seen anything?"
Dude, I did catch Fast and the Furious 9. It was, how can I put this? It's like a guilty pleasure at this point. It's like one of those movies that you go for the entertainment value. You go to see like an action flick for a little bit, but I've given up on the storyline because after Paul Walker passed away, they're kind of scrambling to kind of finish out the, I think they're going to do the 10th one. They're trying to finish out the saga, but you can't really finish out the saga without one of the, core foundation characters. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think it'll just keep continue on and on and on. They'll keep making more and more and more as long as they're producing money. And they're fun popcorn movies. But just to cover some of the tech specs for this movie. Now, in the future, my goal is to talk about content that you can screen in your home at the point that we're talking about it, right? And meaning that I would have watched it, and the content commenter, the content commenter, that's what you are, content commenter. They will also have watched it in their home somehow, right? Or I guess I could watch it in theater. I don't know, whatever. If it's TV, obviously it would have to be at home. But I want to be able to comment on this from a home theater point of view and not a theatrical release point of view. Now, this one we're talking about theatrical release because it's not available at home yet. But that's the future plan, just so everybody knows, because I want to be able to talk about what I thought about the experience in a home theater, right? What was the sound like on the release? What was the video like on the release? But here's some tech specs about the theatrical release of the show. So runtime is 2 hours and 23 minutes. Now, it looks like it's going to have a bunch of different sound mixes available. What I saw on the web is that it'll do, it's got Dolby Atmos, it's got a DTS, it's a 6-track IMAX, does Dolby Surround 7.1 and RO 11.1 in some places. But it would be really cool to find that RO mix on something. I hope they do put that out on a disc somewhere. Because that would be outstanding. It's in 2:3:9:1 aspect ratio, and then it's filmed. All the new stuff was filmed on digital cameras. However, they pulled in a lot of old flashback footage, and that was all done on older Arriflex and Arri Alexa cameras in 35 millimeter. So it's kind of interesting, how they have to mix those two technologies, right? The old film in with digital. And so this the source format for filming is 3.4K. The master format was down to 2K, and Super 35 was the old cinema stuff. And projection is done with D-Cinema 2K projectors. So when you watch this at a movie theater, it's a 2K projection. Now, when we look at and watch this at home, it'll be 4K or 1080p, depending on what technology you've got going. So it's interesting how there's the difference there, right? When you watch it at a movie theater, they're doing it at 2K. When you're doing it at home, it's 480 or 4K or 1080p. So I don't know, very interesting. But for you tech buffs out there, that's that stuff. But back to the movie itself. Yeah, man, the plot on this thing.
Yeah,
they are reaching so far.
They're running out of ideas. I mean, bringing John Cena in, I get that because I know The Rock and Vin Diesel don't get along, and there's all this drama, and I don't know, like this thing.
You mean like in real life they don't get along?
Yeah, as actors.
I didn't know that.
So should this have ended with Fast 7 when they did the send off for Paul? Yes. Was 8 just as useless as 9? Probably. I've watched them both, and for this, like I said, for the small moment in time, it gives me a little spice of nostalgia, because when the first one came out, I was like about 18 years old, and so it was 20 years ago when this came out.
Can you believe that?
And yeah, dude. Oh. And I remember I was so excited about it because at the time, Honda Civics, I had a Mitsubishi Eclipse, these kinds of cars were really popular amongst, the younger people. And it just gave us kind of a, I don't know, kind of like those were our superheroes, for people that were into cars and into, racing and stuff like that. So it was cool until it became literally like they're literally like superheroes with supercars now, and they're flying from building to building. They're flinging off of cliffs. Come on, man.
I know in this movie they like had a car, and then they shot a line out of it, and it swung around, and then it can magically drive over this bridge that's falling, this wooden plank bridge. And then my favorite part is when they launch themselves into space in a car.
Can we do spoilers here?
Yeah, we can do spoilers. Hold on. Spoiler alert. Here they come.
Okay, so that to me was the coolest part of the movie, was them launching a Pontiac Fiero. Because I remember this car because my brother had the same color, same car. He just bought it as a joke. but they literally shot a Pontiac Fiero into space with a jet engine in the behind it. Like, dude, come on, dude. Like,
it's crazy. I mean, it's ridiculous. AA does have a good comment here. Helen Mirren likes the new movies, apparently. Yeah, so she was in this one, and I was shocked. Right? I'm like, Helen Mirren.
Who's that?
It's the older lady, British lady.
In
the movie.
Yeah, she plays with their mom, Jason Statham's mom.
Is that? Yeah, is that right? I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't remember now. That part of the movie is gone. I just remember when I saw her, I was all like, "Oh, all right."
Yeah, it's Jason Statham's. Well, not in real life, but in the movies, in these movies, that's his mom. I don't know.
F9 made it to space before Bezos.
It really did. And dude, what about all those family memes with Vin Diesel? It died pretty quick, but it was kind of funny, I thought.
Yeah, I really didn't see too many of those myself. I think that was kind of a flash in the pan.
Yeah, but, it was over before it started. But yeah, it was a thing for a hot second.
Cool. Well, I want to go into my patented review and rating system for movies. All right. So and I don't know if you've seen this one yet or not, but I have 7 new categories that
I saw your email.
Right on. So 7 new categories, and I should make it like 15 categories. So it's like they're like, oh my god, 15 minutes of the stupid categories. Here we go again. But we'll do these pretty fast. This is 1 to 10, and from your memory of the movie, I know you saw it in a real commercial theater, not at home. But sound, what'd you think? 1 to 10.
6.
6 for me too. Right on.
Okay.
Visuals, what'd you think? Yeah, there's nothing special about the sound. I heard it in Hawaii, watched it in Hawaii. It wasn't Atmos or anything. It was just like, eh.
Yeah, it was blah. Not too much low end. I don't know. Just didn't feel good. When you say visuals?
Yeah, visual, like special effects and anything cool on the screen, anything like that. Cinematography.
I mean, come on, they shot a Fiero into space. I'm gonna give that just for that, I'm gonna give it an 8.
Right on. I'd come in at a 6 on it myself. I wasn't super impressed. There wasn't anything. Well, they did shoot a Fiero into space, and the more I think about it, the cooler it gets. Mm-hmm. But I still gave it a 6. On the action scale, how do you feel the action was?
The action was all right. It was. I say it's 7, solid 7.
Yep, I think 7 as well. There was a lot of it, but it was just like over the top.
If you think about it, it was fast paced, but at the same time, it was these crazy, like, absolutely. I think because of the lack of substance and the lack of a good storyline, they're replacing that with just gratuitous action.
Yeah, you're right. They're being self-indulgent with the action, with action to no end other than just put something on the screen. Horror factor. Is it scary?
No, 0.
Comedy factor. Was it funny?
I mean, there's certain characters that are supposed to be, but I'm so tired of Tyrese's his dialogue in these movies.
It's so bad.
I'm gonna give like a 3, dude.
I gave it a 2 because it's got comedy. It's not comedy, haha. It's comedy. Oh,
yeah, it's definitely cringy for sure.
It's total cringe. Any heartstrings? Any emotional impact from the movie?
At the end, when they showed the skyline and it was, supposed, Paul Walker was in there, that kind of pulled on the heartstrings, but not as much as 7, obviously.
Oh, 7 was way better.
Yeah. So, I give that a 4 on the heartstrings.
I mean, I gave it a 0. I felt like they were just trying too hard. Yeah, it didn't work for me at all.
Okay.
And then the last one is lewdness. Are there any popsicle jokes or just what do you want to think about? Any crudeness, lewdness in there?
I'd say maybe a 1.
Yeah, 0, 1. I mean, it's not really that kind of movie.
It would have made it better, but I don't know.
Yeah. What's that guy that always has the crude movies? He Jack and Zero make a porno or whatever it was. You know that dude.
Zach and Miri make a porno.
Yeah, who's that actor? And he's got that kind of gravelly voice. Oh, I can't remember. If they put him in, there'd be plenty of crazy. Somebody that's watching is going to be. They're going to be like, I know who that is.
Dude, AA knows everybody and everything, so he's going to tell us. He's going to tell us right now. If not, he's going to Google it and tell us.
Maybe AA can come on one day, be a commenter or a content commenter.
Dude, I would totally be into that. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Robert's with us today. What's up, man? Glad to have you. Dope Action Big Fat 614. He wants to see that subwoofer bottom out. Yeah, it'd be fun to see a video where somebody just makes the KC62 blow up somehow. That'd be crazy. So the question is, who is the actor who was in the movie? And I can't remember the exact name, but it's like Zach and Miriam make a porno.
Oh, Seth Rogen.
Yeah, Seth. There we go.
Hi-Fi Haven almost had it. He almost had it.
He got it. Yeah, there we go.
Rogen. Seth Rogen. Never mind, AA. We figured it out.
There we go. ACDC. Oh, I see what you did there. ACDC 86. He got me. I was all like, ACD. Oh, yeah, right on. Yeah, so Seth Rogen. If they do, they need to throw him in. He can be the new Paul Walker. You know, and be like, Paul Walker's brother. I can't do his voice, but that would make it better.
Dude.
So, and then the final question, when you sum it all up, is this a movie that people should buy, whether they buy it on physical media or Kaleidoscape or whatever, so they can have it for posterity to keep forever? Is it one that they should rent? They might not want to keep it forever, but they want to have it at the best quality possible. So 4K disc rental, something like that. Or should they just wait and stream the heck out of it and just, I guess the fourth one is just don't show up at all and don't watch it. So buy, rent, stream, or pass.
I would say if you're a hardcore Fast and Furious like fanatic, like if you've been following and you've seen the last one and if you've seen all of them, I would say at the very least rent. Now, if you're just a regular guy that doesn't really care about the movies, and you're bored on like a Tuesday night stream, and if you're not really into action movies, I would pass. So, though I would say there's something for each category in those last three categories, but it's not something I would purchase at all.
Right on. Yeah, I'm going to lean toward stream or pass. Right. Mm-hmm. If there's something that you're interested in, pass on it and watch that other thing. Spend your time in another way. But if you're hardcore Fast and Furious and you're not a collector, yeah, I don't see any reason to do anything other than stream this.
Yeah,
I really don't. I mean, it's a nice way to waste a couple of hours if you need to waste a couple of hours. But honestly, there's so much content out there today. I don't know, man. I think this one might just come down to you better love Fast and Furious if you're into this, if you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So anyway, there we go, everybody. That is Content Corner for the week with Fast and Furious 9, the Fast Saga F9, and it's pass or rent, and you got to be a hardcore collector to do anything else. Now, let's talk about our channels, the important stuff, right? So, release anything recently, Mike, that people might be interested in checking out?
Yeah, dude, I've been doing. I don't know if anybody still watches my stuff in here, but I'm stepping away. Not stepping away completely, but I am diversifying my channel to include a lot more DIY stuff now. So I've been kind of exploring DIY stuff with, vintage audio things. I'm working right now on trying to make a Rune core out of a $5 Dell desktop that I got at an estate sale. I've been estate sailing a lot, so I might actually do a little segment with estate sales and stuff like that. So there's a lot of cool new stuff coming up that's different. However, one thing I'm very excited about is the fact that you and I are pulling in Avengers again, and we're joining forces. Where are you? There you are. Wait.
Yeah, I haven't done this in a long time. Oh, yeah, here we go.
There you go.
I got Hulk Fist. Here, let me make it normal size.
No, let me make it bigger. Let me make it bigger. There we go.
Actually, this is Wonder Twin Powers activate, form of icicle, right? Form of kangaroo.
But dude, I'm excited that you and I are doing stuff again, and we're gonna be doing like, weekly visits and hang out. We're gonna film some stuff, and we got that another Battle of the Bookshelves coming out. I'm stoked for all the content that's coming, and I'm really happy to be working closely with you again. So, yeah, man, what do you got going on?
Yeah, no, fun stuff. So we as you alluded to, we just filmed Bookshelf Battle number 5 for my channel, and number whichever one it is for your channel. Although you call it different stuff, so it's the one we did together, and it's the 5th one for me. So I'm excited for that, and those are always fun to do because I like to look at the bookshelves. It's my favorite form factor for speakers. It's really fun. But I got the Klipsch Cinema 800 that I did the world's worst live unboxing of the other day. Yesterday, it was horrible. It was just straight up. I mean, the laptop shut off one time during the video. The audio and video were not in sync at all. The video was choppy, and it was riddled with issues. But it's still out there. But a full review of that will be coming. And man, I don't know. These Klipsch Cinema soundbars have polarized some folks and have created a little bit of drama. I don't really want to get into it on the show, but yeah, for folks
come
out there,
on.
No, I'm not going to indulge in that. People can go figure it out for themselves. But yeah, just check out some of the.
Okay, just for the record, I recently, within the last month or so, I did put out a Cinema 600 soundbar review, and I really liked it. I thought it was a good soundbar. So you have to let me know. Well, obviously I'm going to be with you when you film it, but
yeah. So Mike's going to come over on Friday, and we're gonna bust out a Cinema 800 review video. Working on it.
What I've told you already right off the bat, and this is, I'm not going to get into the other stuff, but what I've told you right off the bat is that I'm jealous because the Cinema 800 has the faux Atmos, so you get a little. Kind of like how that Vizio I had like the faux surround. This thing has like faux Atmos where it just bounces it off the ceiling. So I'm excited to hear the difference between the two. Because,
okay, the 800 is weird because it doesn't have. So the 1200 has got like the whole complement with upward firing speakers and everything. Right.
This one, the 800 has something different.
It doesn't have upward firing speakers at all.
I thought it said it did.
It says it's an Atmos soundbar, and it decodes Atmos. I think it somehow injects the Atmos objects into the bed layer of speaker. This is just me conjecturing right now. Right?
Look at it. Fatmos. The faux Atmos.
Fatmos. Yeah, we're gonna listen to Fatmos. That's funny.
There's gonna be some Fatmos.
So I'm gonna do the 800 review and check that out and see what it's like. And I reached out to him. I'm like, hey guys, I need this 1200 too, so I can do a comparison and see what the difference is there really, so people can know, because it's not just that the 1200 is bigger and might have larger size drivers. It has a different speaker complement altogether, right? So it's got the little ones on top. So you see the little circles on top, and I assume there are speakers under there that are upward firing, right?
There's speakers on top of that sound bar. I've seen it obviously on the interwebs, but they should totally send you a 1200 because the 800's cool. The 600's like entry level, right? That's my domain. So the 600's entry level. I thought it was rad. The bass was actually really nice on the subwoofer, and the surrounds were okay. It wasn't like a cinematic experience, but it's a sound bar. There's not much you can ask from a sound bar. It's a sound bar. It has its limitations. But yeah, I thought it was rad. So I'm expecting the 800 to be rad, and if they send you the 1200, I'm so excited to see that because
I want to play with that,
because that would be like real Fatmos.
Yeah, the real Fatmos. Oh, that's hilarious! I can't believe AA just coined a new term.
He did.
We're gonna use that all the time.
Dude,
we're gonna have Atmos or Fatmos? Oh no, it's Fatmos.
It's Fatmos.
It's funny. So I took the I took the soundbar and the sub and put it up in our guest room. And our guest room, my wife uses that as her art studio right now, but it's got a TV in there, and that's what we'll hook it up to and demo it with. And she's
Cool.
like, why don't you put a big box in my room? I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't put a box in your room. She's like, yeah, there's a big box.
Oh, the
And
subwoofer.
I'm like, oh, the subwoofer. And she's like, I don't need a subwoofer. And I'm like, well, guess what? You got one.
So
you need it or not.
Giles, all I got to know is that are we gonna snuggle in your guest bedroom while we're listening to the soundbar, or what?
Well, I think that's the only appropriate way to test it out, right? Because people will want to watch it while they're in their bed, and I want to see what kind of emotions it elicits in us, right?
Right on.
We can watch 10 Hugh Grant movies.
Yeah, we
right?
can.
And
or we can watch some chick flicks, test out the fatmos in there.
Right on, yeah, like Sleepless in Seattle, some dramedies or rom-coms.
Oh my God, no way.
Casa de Giles.
No way. Look at the comments. He's back.
Oh, Peter North is. I always wonder if it really is Peter North or if it's just some dude messing around. You know.
I mean, if he is serious though, I got some def techs right here.
Yeah, no, dude. If you really are Peter North, hats off to you, sir. Love your work. A long-time fan. But he does call me Jules. So I don't know. Maybe he likes me. I don't know. Yeah, Definitive Technology home setup. So DefTechs are awesome. I've been a big fan of DefTech for years. And that's actually a company that I have not talked to ever, right? Since I started doing the home theater game and doing YouTube and stuff, I've never talked to them. They got picked up by Sound United.
Yeah, they're Sound United, aren't they?
Yeah, they are now. But I remember buying DefTech when they were selling their B stock out of a warehouse in, like Long Beach or something, or maybe it was Manhattan Beach. So God, this good looking. Oh, I can't put that stuff up on there. This isn't necessarily a family show, but is
Jesus, that was good. That was I've never heard that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never heard that before, and we will be using that in the future. Not obviously on screen, but
bless you, sir. All right. So, and then let me see anything else coming up. So, Hi-Fi Rose video is almost done. I still had to do the voiceover. I've needed to do the voiceover for 3 days now. For the
you're gonna be checking out some Vincent's.
That's right. Yep. So maybe you can talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be doing my main filming over at Giles's house. I'm finishing up my filming at Giles's house of the Vincent preamp and amplifier. I don't have the actual model numbers in my head, but yeah, there's Vincent Audio, great brand. German, I believe they're German.
They're German. Yep.
And I'm excited to really experience it in Giles's environment, and see what it can do there. And yeah, I'm excited to share that with you, Giles, and just pump out some more content for all of our fans.
Yep. And other items that are kind of circling in the toilet bowl, getting ready to come out. Zadude Z9X video. So file player. I've got the Cherry amplifier, the Megashino Mark II from Digital Amplifier Company. And I've got that rocking and rolling right now. I've demoed a bunch of music on it. We used it for the Battle of the Bookshelf 5 video. Sounds great.
Fantastic amplifier.
Yeah, fantastic. I got the stereo version. Retail on that 6100. I mean, it's a good piece of kit.
Is it really?
It's a little bit pricey. Yeah, but it's a good piece of kit. Yeah. It weighs like 10,000 pounds too. And it's got, I'll show this to you when you come over. It's got like a big lug nut on the bottom. And maybe there's a toroidal, however you say that, transformer in there, and that's how it bolts down. But it's like legit hardcore. When you think Class D, you think think about like a Behringer amplifier that has no guts at all, right? You open it up and there's like a little tiny board in there. There's nothing to it. Weighs like 8 pounds. This is not that. This is legit. Anyway, so that one's coming, and then I've got a new screen from Seymour Screen Excellence, the Trim 2L, and I have to find space to put this thing together, and I might need your help out on this actually, because it's, you know, it's kind of big, but
Sure.
I've got a whole stack of Atlantic Technology speakers boxed up that have to go back, and I can't really work on the screen until I get those out of the room. And then guess what showed up today? Another chair.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm
how are
loving
these?
it.
Dude,
I
these
love,
people
I
are-
love seating. Seating is the most important piece of gear that you can have in any theater. It is super important. So I'm really excited to do another video about that and talk about some more seating. So, but that's coming up, and I'll get more details about that as things get real.
Sounds like a plan.
That's what I got going on, man. Anything else you want to talk about before we shut this one down?
No, I think we covered everything, and I had a lot of fun. This was good. It's good to be back in the live stream of things. But yeah, I'm sure we'll have a lot more fun content for people coming up here soon. Oh, and I'm going to be on the show in 3 weeks. So
that's right. Yeah, you'll be the main guest and not the comment.
Hopefully, I'll have a big announcement for that time. That way, I can actually drop a huge bomb on people.
That would be awesome.
Oh, dude, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Speaking of huge bombs, dude, look what I found at an estate sale the other day, dude. What is this? Can someone please tell me what this is? And it's like a mortar. Is this like a missile? Like, what is this? It's heavy. It's like probably a good 15 pounds, 15, 20 pounds. What?
It may not have any payload. It might just be.
No, it's empty.
No, I mean, it might not have been intended to have payload. It might just be to knock holes.
Oh, it's 10 pounds. It says 10 pounds, 3N MOR. Maybe it is a mortar. I don't know. I found it. It was $25 at a.
So it's about a 10-pound, 3N,
like a little baby N, and then MOR. And it says RL63S.
RL63S.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know, dude. This is some crazy stuff from like a different time. There's stuff all over it.
It might be a ML 3-inch mortar.
Yeah. Did you see it?
I'm trying to find a picture. Does it hold it back up? Yeah, that's it. So that tail screws in. So it
it does. It's like
so you should be able to just screw it right off.
Oh, look.
Yeah. So that's it.
Is it going to blow up? I'm not.
So the ML 3-inch mortar is conventional Stokes type mortar that is muzzle loaded and drop fired. It also reuses many of the Brandt mortar features. Whatever. It's. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's get the brass tacks. How much is it worth? Did I overspend at $25?
It does. Wikipedia doesn't tell me that.
Oh, dude, we gotta go shopping.
But it's from 1967. No, dude. Hold on. Okay, so that remained in service with the British Army until it was replaced in 1965. So 65 is when it went out of service.
So it's got to be worth some money.
So it was in use in World War II.
So it's really got to be worth some money.
Yeah, 20. Interesting find.
Yeah. Amongst other things, obviously, I found that Cambridge CD player.
Which I'm super jealous of, by the way, dude. That thing looks awesome.
Bro, I was on a mission that day. I went online and I looked up the estate sales and I saw it. And I'm already a day late, right? It was Saturday and this shit started on Friday. So I'm like, man, I got to run over there. So we run over there and I thought I missed it because everywhere where their entertainment center was downstairs, nothing was there. So I went upstairs to like an extra guest room or something, and there it was. And I'm like, oh, score. And it was half price off day, so I got it for $40, dude. It's like a $350 CD player.
Oh, it looks really good too. That's the kind of. So Mike was very generous, and he brought over a Sony 5-disc changer for me to use because I don't have a standalone CD player. And he's all like, oh, look at this Cambridge one that I got. It's so awesome. And here's this.
Hey, no,
Sony.
no. In all fairness, that Sony is an SACD player, and it's really, really nice. That one actually, that Sony still goes for almost $100. So, yeah, you got yourself a $100 Sony, buddy.
I'll trade you for the Cambridge.
No thanks.
Oh, no, it's cool. But you know, Mike's on. He's got his eye out for us. So you know, when he finds cool stuff on at these estate sales, you know, he'll pick it up and I'll pay him back and eventually he'll have so much stuff that his kick me down leftovers are going to be high end.
And yeah, I'll have to open up a little like hi-fi thrift shop.
You know, I keep thinking about that idea you had to open up like a CD and record player shop, and you could also sell
told you
gear, new
Dude,
stuff.
There's a place like that here in Denver. When you come visit me, I will take you to this place. It's called Twist and Shout. It's right off of Colfax. And dude, it has a huge CD collection, huge record collection, a huge like Funko Pop collection, which is rad, and it has vintage hi-fi stuff for sale. So like they took my idea, even though
you just have to do it better.
They've been in business probably like 30 years, but they still took my idea.
Oh, so just a couple of comments out there. You know, Peter North says, "Stay great, guys. Good to have you on the show, Peter." ACDC. I was able to build a theater around some salvaged Def Tech BP3000s. Great times. Okay, for folks that don't know, the BP3000 is probably the best speaker Definitive Technology has ever released. Mike has a pair of what I consider to be the second best and almost as good as the BP3000. He's got the BP2000s, which have integrated 15-inch subs. The BP3000 has 18s. Humongous, and they probably sound exactly the same, honestly. But very interesting subwoofers and speakers. My Mail, what's up, My Mail? I don't know that I've seen you on the show before. Welcome. New SACD players are steep. Absolutely agreed. And then Hi-Fi Haven says that's one of his old hangouts. Nice,
yeah. So he knows where. Yeah, because he's local. So yeah, he knows what's up.
Cool. Right on. All right, folks. I think we're going to call it. We're going to put a fork in this one. This is done, everybody. Everybody, as always, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. It's always fun. This is the favorite thing that I do as far as social media and content is concerned. I love this. And thank you, Mike, for coming and spending your time with us as well.
You got it, brother.
All right, everybody. Have a great evening. And as always, see you guys in that next video.